yeah, bootleg theater. Just watch it.
Nick of Time is a story about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Johnny Depp plays against type as a naive, buttoned-up single dad. When he crosses paths with a mysterious authority figure played by National Treasure Christopher Walken, his life splits between before this and after this.
Mr. Watson, pay attention. And your daughter won't be hurt.
All right, honey, come to daddy.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Good. This is for you. In it, there's a picture of a woman and an itinerary. It's her itinerary. She is presently... You listening, Mr. Watson?
Yes.
She is presently at the Bonaventure Hotel. It's not far from here. You will take this, and you will kill the woman whose picture's in there. Not just shoot her, mind you, kill her. I recommend you empty the gun into her, close up.
With his daughter's life on the line, he's given a gun, an envelope, and 90 minutes to kill. And that's where Nick of Time gets fun. From here on out, the rest of the film plays out in real time as his hour-and-a-half deadline approaches.
See, and slap a percentile on there, figuring that somewhere between your lies and your bad luck, they'll hit on the mean amount.
Sir, there's a little girl in a van. She's my daughter.
Zach, you have to speak up.
Listen to me. A man and a woman were at the train. They showed me a badge and then they took her away from me. They took her because they want me to do something for them. Do you understand? She's in trouble.
It's a challenge to discuss Nick of Time without giving away spoilers. And the less you know going into it, the better. There are, however, plenty of questions to keep you engaged, like, how is he going to get out of this? Everywhere he seems to go is as if he's being watched. Everyone he asks for help seems to be in on it.
Now, the thing you've got to ask yourself is, what's behind the scenes?
And I absolutely adore that Johnny Depp is playing against type here.
Johnny Depp.
Not a captain, not a rebel, a hero, or a sex symbol.
Let me tell you something.
If you love Christopher Walken, you're gonna get Christopher Walken. Perfect as an arrogant, seasoned agent, cop, corrupt authority figure, whatever he is, Walken slays. He dances through his dialogue, delivering lines like only he can.
How do I know? I don't.
Tell me why he's dead.
Because you killed him.
That's right, I did. I killed him. He f***ed up one too many times, so I put a bullet in his eye. Then I put 2 more into him just to make sure. Now, that was somebody I loved. I loved him. But I got the call. I put him down like a sick animal. So, if you got doubts about what's gonna happen if you don't deliver, let me tell you something. I made gravy out of your little girl.
Transitioning into some of that bad, Nick of Time is entertaining and even tense, but its resolutions walk a razor's edge between convenient and not edgy enough. I would have liked to have seen the consequences of the political elements carrying a little more weight, a little more reason, and a little more why. Other than that, there is one scene that pulls the old "it was all a nightmare" trope that feels like a little extra padding. Final verdict, Nick of Time is a fun, short film, good for movie night gatherings. It manages to balance requiring your attention without feeling like it needs investment. I really enjoyed the subtle performance by Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
And one-of-a-kind style of Christopher Walken as the bad guy. Ultimately, Nick of Time hints at being a story about overcoming passiveness and rising to the occasion. The political thriller lacks weight, but it's an entertaining movie best experienced as blind as possible. Overall, Nick of Time is a hidden gem that doesn't overstay its welcome and never pretends to be what it's not. And that's it. That is my brief, spoiler-free review of Nick of Time starring Johnny Depp and Christopher Walken. Thank you so much for watching. The channel is Feel For Real. The show is Bootleg Theater, and I will either see you next time with another hidden gem or So Bad It's Good movie review.
Double feature, double feature.
From Hell is a stylish, fictional retelling of the Jack the Ripper story, loosely based on the graphic novel written by Alan Moore. Despite major liberties taken, Johnny Depp plays Frederick Alberline, the inspector tasked with catching Jack the Ripper. From Hell presents an interesting, creepy take on history's most infamous cold case by presenting several possible antagonists, settling on one, then providing a reason why no one knows the truth.
Oh! It's mine, Polly. It's my money.
I could pop your eye out. Customers wouldn't mind. I don't mind if a whore can see.
Jack the Ripper killed at least 5 working girls, and the film follows their lives, making connections with the fictional telling as it follows the Whitechapel murders. From Hell humanizes the women rather than presenting their job as glamorous or alluring. The desperation of extreme poverty and basic survival supersedes risk and reason. The presentation is eerily atmospheric and gritty, and the implied violence is felt through characters' reactions to the aftermath.
I'd like to give them an answer.
Talking about?
The Nichols boys. I would welcome the opportunity to give them an answer to their bloody message.
There is most definitely a message here.
The film presents Inspector Aberline as a hardened man and opium abuser who has difficulty gaining the respect of others as he tries to convince others that a man can be that cold. Jack the Ripper's murders baffled authorities because they were incredibly intentional and precise, committed in the low-light streets of London. The killer is quite surgical in removing, let's just say, souvenirs. This leads Alberline to come to the conclusion that Jack the Ripper is not only an educated man, but a wealthy man.
Well, one thing's for certain. An Englishman didn't do it. Maybe one of these Red Indians wandered into Whitechapel and indulged his natural inclinations.
With all due respect, sir, I believe this was done by someone with at least a working knowledge of dissection. Either an educated man, such as a doctor.
An educated man? That's preposterous. No well-bred man would do this. What about the Jews? A Jew butcher or a Jew tailor might have money. There are plenty of them in Whitechapel.
However, the idea of an affluent, high society man being the Ripper is regarded as so ridiculous to authorities, they even claim that Americans, especially Native Americans or Jews, were responsible to the point of the public resorting to hate crimes. The theory of a wealthy antagonist contrasted with the impoverished victims presents a realism to how this could have actually happened. And it does it without preaching or virtue signaling like modern movies.
Oh, almost forgot. My gentleman got your present.
Your gentleman? He must be very refined. Very refined indeed.
Get in. I'll bring it in.
What?
Here we are. Too far.
That'll do me.
Let me see you.
Come here.
Yeah, straight there. Straight there to the door here.
From Hell is adapted from a graphic novel written by Alan Moore, writer of Watchmen, who infamously disavows any and all efforts to adapt his works to film, and probably for good reason. I have not read From Hell, but in writing this review, it's come to my attention that if you watch the film for adaptation's sake after reading the graphic novel, you'll hate the film. From what I've learned, the film and the book only share the concept of there being a conspiracy. That said, From Hell is a very competent film in its atmosphere and tone, despite the fact that it sometimes employs this late 90s, early 2000s Marilyn Manson music video visual flair. Transitioning into some of that bad. Besides the pending disappointment for those that have read the graphic novel and are now watching the film, the Hughes brothers aren't known for their subtle filmmaking. From Hell is likely their least pretentious and on-the-nose film, but it does at times rely too much on trendy music video visuals of the time rather than making a movie about Jack the Ripper actually scary. Final verdict, From Hell is an entertaining whodunit with a graphic novel flair and gritty atmosphere. An early 2000s film, modern enough to hold up while being old enough to have better pacing than contemporary films. From Hell isn't quite scary, but it breathes and takes its time to tell its story. From what I hear, if you've read the graphic novel by Alan Moore and you're a huge fan, you'll be disappointed. That said, the film stands on its own as a separate entity with enough for me to recommend here on Bootleg Theater. From Hell is a Johnny Depp film that's not often mentioned outside of the influence of Tim Burton or the Pirates films. I enjoyed the proposed theory that the film ends on, and there's real loss with weighted consequences. And that's it. That is my review of From Hell, starring National Treasure Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Thank you so much for watching. The channel is Phil For Real. The show is Bootleg Theater, and I hope to see you again next time with either another hidden gem or so bad it's good movie review.